Penantha, and welcome to match day 20 on Wrexham's League One journey. We're back at the Stoke Kairas this afternoon as Cambridge United make the journey from east to west. Phil Parkinson's side aiming to consolidate this outstanding home record, which has seen them win 9 games and draw just 1 of their first 10 league matches here this season. Gary Monk's Cambridge have struggled so far in this campaign, starting today's fixtures third bottom in the table, but off the back of a 4-1 win over fellow strugglers Shrewsbury Town, will have confidence perhaps that they can come to North Wales and cause an upset. Andy Morell and Mia Roberts are alongside me this afternoon. Good to see you both as ever. And Mia, as we return to the Stoke Kairas this afternoon, Wrexham's outstanding defence in recent weeks will no doubt be a talking point for many fans. How difficult is it as a defender to continue on such a good run when you know you've been shutting teams out consistently?
Yeah, it's obviously you're coming up against quality opposition week in, week out, especially in this league. But there's a confidence right now in that back line, and that's full credit to those boys going out there and doing it, but also the staff behind the scenes who have obviously implemented a really good system. But it's full credit to them as well. We've seen a lot of changes in that back three, but also obviously goalkeeping as well in that position over the last few weeks, with obviously Arthur being in there and then getting injured, Burton then coming in, now Howard. I know obviously Brad Foster made his debut on Tuesday as well and did really well. So it's a massive compliment that they've been able to maintain that defensive form, even though there has had to be personnel changes.
Andy, looking across the whole season so far, Wrexham's defensive record is so strong, isn't it? When you've just been promoted and promoted off the back of a promotion, what does that say about the quality of coaching and also the training ground standards that, as Mia says, despite so many personnel changes at the back, it has been a rock solid defensive line?
Yeah, I think it's been an outstanding start. I think it's, for the last 2 years, we'll score more than you will. For us, and we've certainly done that. Mullin, Lee, all of them scoring. But this year I think we've set up slightly differently. We've been a little bit more cautious. Our mid-block is very, very good, which helps the back line and the goalkeeper keep those clean sheets, and then you're in every game, aren't you? And I think that's credit to Phil Parkinson, the work they've done on the training pitch for that. We've only conceded 4 goals here in the 10 games, 2 in the first game of the season as well. So it is an incredible, and I think, sort of about Mia's point, they'll have the record in their sights. I think 25 clean sheets for a season across all competitions is the aim. They've already got 14 of those already, so I'm sure that they will have that in the back of their minds as well, and that galvanises the group of the back 5, 6, however many you want in there, to really go for it and make sure they don't concede.
Well, a famous song, of course, in the 90s was 1-0 to the Arsenal, wasn't it, as George Graham took his team to success. I wonder if 1-0 to the Wrexham is going to become a similar kind of shout as we go through this campaign. That, of course, the way that Wrexham have won their last 3 games, including against Crewe in the Virtue Trophy on Tuesday night. Let's have a look then at the team that Phil Parkinson has named for this afternoon's fixture, and to see who has been trusted with the shirt. And what we do know is that there are 2 changes from the team who won at Burton Albion on Saturday. For that match, George Dobson and James McLean were both suspended. They return today. Otherwise, it's as you were from the team who won at the Pirelli Stadium. So Mark Howard continues in goal. Brad Foster is on the bench. Lewis Brunt, Max Cleworth and Owen O'Connell, the back 3. Ryan Barnett and James McLean, the 2 wing-backs. Matty James, George Dobson and Ollie Rathbone, the midfield 3. Elliot Lee again deployed in support of Ollie Palmer up top. And the bench, Dan Scarr, Seb Revan, Andy Cannon, Paul Mullin, Mo Farl and Steve Fletcher. So Tom O'Connor and Jacob Mendy miss out from the squad, who were on the bench on Saturday. Mia, is that the team you were expecting to see this afternoon?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a pretty obvious one that James McLean in particular was going to come back in. George Dobson I wasn't too sure about, only because he played 90 on Tuesday night here against Crewe. So I thought maybe Andy Cannon will come in again like he did for Burton, was it? And but then apart from that, really no surprises. I thought maybe we'd see Paul Mullin get a start today. I just had a bit of an inkling. I thought it was sort of teased a bit in the week with Parkinson saying he was sort of chomping at the bit. But I think again we'll probably see him then last 25-20 minutes, and hopefully he can get his goal against his former club.
I think we've been analysing Phil's teams for 2 years now, and we see a trend where if you're doing it for the team, you will keep the shirt, and I think that's fair. And so I wasn't surprised to see all the boys come back in, that played in that Barnsley game that have done so well over the past couple, because it's their shirt to lose, really. They've done so well. They don't deserve to be dropped.
Yeah, Paul Mullen, of course, really made his name at Cambridge United. 32 goals for them in season 2021, powering them to promotion and effectively igniting his career, bringing about his move to the racecourse. And Andy, if he gets his chances, I'm sure he will, this afternoon off the bench, Paul Mullen, how much would it mean to him, do you think, to score against the club that really kick-started his career?
Well, I think to score for him first and foremost doesn't really matter who it's against at the moment, because he's desperate for a goal at the moment. And we saw at Burton that he was sharp, he's been lively. The chance that came his way, just hit the keeper with it and wasn't able to just put it in the corner. And when things are going for you, you sort of just slide them in without even thinking. And so we're just waiting for that moment, aren't we, for him to get in, to just get whatever it goes in off, it doesn't really matter, and hopefully that'll ignite his season for him. But there's no better place to do it at home in front of your old team as well. Will he celebrate? Well, I'm not so sure.
There's certainly a good number of Cambridge United fans here this afternoon, so it'll be intriguing to see what sort of reception they give Paul Mullen, who had a stand named after him at the Abbey Stadium during that season. So hopefully he'll be positively remembered if and when he gets his chance to enter the fray. Well, as ever, on Match Day Live, pre-match, Phil Parkinson very kindly gave us a few minutes of his time. I caught up with him just a few moments ago. Well, Phil, back at the Stoke Kairas and 4 wins on the bounce without conceding a goal. I'm guessing there's a good level of confidence around the camp.
Yeah, you expect that from us. We had a good run recently, for quite a sustained period, and it's just now a focus on what we've done well in that recent run of games, and looking at Cambridge and what we need to do well today.
2 changes from your starting 11 who won at Burton, returns for George Jobson and James McLean. What was your thinking there? Yeah,
I think Seb and Andy unlucky to come out of the team. Tight calls, but Jimmy's been great for us with his leadership qualities, and obviously Dobbo's had a really good first half of the season so far as well. So yeah, just we went with the kind of team and the shape which has won those last few games at home.
Cambridge have struggled away from home this season, Phil, just 1 win from their 9 games, but a very good win for them against Shrewsbury last time out. What sort of challenge are you expecting from Gary Monk's team?
Yeah, I think they're a team who early in the season were playing out from the back and playing a little bit more, and they've kind of changed and got more direct, kind of got that realisation that they're in a bit of a scrap down the bottom, and they played that way very well against Shrewsbury last week, obviously in difficult conditions, left the front 2 at the top of the pitch, played on the counter, and we've got to be ready for that physical battle at the top of the pitch. I feel there's space to play around the midfield, which we've been looking at. Can we get the balls down the side of the 3 centre-backs? So there's areas where obviously there's vulnerabilities, but equally they're a team which needs respecting, and we'll give them every bit of that respect in the way we go about our business.
And today, pre-match, a couple of special visitors to the dressing room, Channing Tatum and Ryan Reynolds popping in. What were their messages for the players?
I wasn't in the dressing room when they went in, but they obviously came in for a chat with me and Steve in the office, which was great. It's always good to catch up with Ryan. I exchange messages with him as we go along, but it's always good when he's over here and just have a chance to have a chat and talk about the team and how the side and the squad is progressing.
Great to see you, Phil. All the best today.
Thank you. Cheers.
Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson giving us his thoughts ahead of today's game. One of the points that Phil made there was that he felt there might be space in midfield for his team to exploit today. How do you think they might go about doing that?
I think, we touched on it a bit before, but I think that might be part of the reason why Elliot Lee stayed in. Obviously he's been in good form, he's played, I think that partnership with Ollie Palmer has been very good over the last few weeks, but it has changed that sort of style of play more into a sort of 3-5-1-1 rather than a 3-5-2. And it allows Elliot Lee to drop into those little spaces, and I'm sure that's something they've obviously highlighted that Cambridge have suffered a bit from in the last few weeks, where they've been exploited in those areas. So I'm sure that's something. Happy Christmas.
Look at that, Rex the Dragon, what a cameo appearance and what a wonderful hat. Keep going, Mia. Keep going.
No, I'm sure that's something they've exploited, and that might be part of the reason why Elliot Lee stayed in there. And he's so good when he gets into those areas. He can really hurt teams, and I think that's something he's done over the last few weeks really well. Where early on in the season he maybe was having to do more of that defensive role, which is something he probably doesn't like to do as much and he's so much more effective when he does go forward.
In recent weeks, Andy, we've seen Wrexham grind out the 1-0 wins. They all count worth 3 points, of course, and I love the hat.
Thank you.
I'm going to carry on pretending, that you're looking
not
just normal.
one.
Yeah, you're looking particularly
I'm leaving
festive.
it on then. I'm leaving it on.
Yeah, why not? It's looking nice and warm. But of course, last time we were here on a Saturday was the Exeter City game where Wrexham really put on a show and won by 3-0. Do you think Phil Parkinson will be keen tonight to get his team out early and really get the crowd behind, try and get an early goal and set the tempo rather than get drawn into a bit of a dogfight?
I think that's always the way that Phil Parkinson set out his teams, and any manager really, you want to go out and you want to get on that front foot really early on and take the game to your opposition. They've been brilliant here at home in just not conceding any space and being able to play and like you said, grinding it out. I think you'd look to, if you can get an early goal today, you're onto a winner really, because it's such a better game when you're not having to just defend and then go and break and nick that 1-0 win. But I think he's set out his teams to just not lose, but then go and without Mullin in the team, he's asking Lee to just make that overload in midfield, and so I think that would tell you that he's staying in games to then nick it rather than going and taking it. But every manager out there would say get on the front foot and go and get an early goal, because it's much better for your team.
If you missed the news of the Virtue Trophy last 16 draw, it occurred this lunchtime, and Wrexham are going to face Port Vale at Vale Park in the last 16 of that competition. Port Vale, of course, were in Wrexham's group, which the Red Dragons came top of. So it's Port Vale again in that competition, a match which was drawn in the group stage, Port Vale winning a fairly meaningless shootout at the end of that. That fixture on a date to be confirmed, likely to be early or mid-February, but with a couple of Thursday night fixtures looming in January. With a couple of Thursday night fixtures looming in January, Wrexham's fixture calendar is going to have to be worked hard to find a slot, so keep an eye on all the club channels for details of when that match will take place. Let's have a look at the League One table then going into today's game. It makes good reading, of course, with Wrexham in second space, with Birmingham City and Wycombe Wanderers joining the Red Dragons and just pulling away a little bit now from that chasing pack of Huddersfield Town downwards. An intense period, of course, looming over Christmas. Wrexham go to Bristol Rovers next Saturday, then it's Blackpool at home and Wigan at home before we get to the new year. Mia, what are your reflections on how that's looking ahead of today's games?
Listen, I think I've said it pretty much every time we've looked at the League One table. It's just beautiful viewing, and a huge part of that is our home form. To go nine wins, 1 draw is unbelievable. We're the best, most informed side in the league, and that's one of the reasons why we are sitting as nicely as we are. And I think Wycombe at the moment are in a little rough, well, not rough patch, but they've fallen off from where they were when they were absolutely flying. So it's as good a time as ever to really be in this sort of form where we're just picking up points and not conceding either. So it's great viewing for all Wrexham fans around the world at the moment.
I just think they've bounced back really well from that defeat at Stockport. It was a bit of a tough watch that game, and they've just been able to just slightly alter the way that they've played. Phil Parker's just taken a step back, looked at it and gone, okay, we maybe be able to play a little bit if we put Matty James in there, just change that style a little bit and come out the other end. And it's the way you bounce back from those defeats that's so crucial to staying up at the top end of the table.
Cambridge United, of course, are struggling at the other end of the table. We'll just take a quick look at the lower placings here, because Gary Monk, a Premiership manager, of course, in his Swansea City days, will be trying to get his team going after that victory over bottom of the table Shrewsbury Town last time out. The bottom 4, of course, dropped back into League 2. Cambridge have been a team who have tended to struggle a bit in League 1. This is their 4th consecutive season. They've never been higher than 14th. So very much a match on paper which Wrexham will feel they should be taking 3 points from this afternoon. But of course, as ever in football, you just never know. What we do know is that, as we were just mentioning, Wrexham are through to the last 16 of the Virtue Trophy, and that's because they managed to overcome Crewe Alexandra when they visited the Stoke Kairas on Tuesday night. Let's have a reminder of how they did so.
A little bit of space outside the box. The ball swept in nastily under the bar. Marshall punches well. Ford will attack this and hits it. And it hits his own man, Scar. Ball comes back in again. It's headed away. And in the end, Ford sensibly gets it out of the crowd. Back to Mendy in the centre circle. He sets himself and goes towards the right corner. Good ball up for Aaron James, who wins that header well. Headed partially clear. Long range shot by Farr. That's a great effort. It's Powell coming forwards, working it over to the left-hand side. Finney swings in the cross, decent one, good save by Foster. But they got the ball now 25 yards out, and it's rolled in to the feet of Breckin. Fed back out again, and Paul, and here's a chance now on the turn. Good save again by Foster. It's another corner.
Hopefully something may come from Mendy down the left.
He bursts down the outside, swings across into the far post, it hangs in the air. Ford nods it down. Farl tries to hit on the turn. Oh, Bulverson leaning backwards, slashes it over from 6 yards out. This goes the other way. Quick free kick by Powell's a beauty. And now here's danger. Taberner cutting in from the left-hand side. Roberts in the middle. Tries a shot from a tight angle. Another good parry by Foster. Over his head. Got his hand up to it quickly. It's a corner.
Yeah.
Now playing as a right back is Aaron James, and we know he can get the pitch comfortably. Farl gets up, creates a loose ball. Revan bursts onto it nicely on the left side of the box. Can he deliver? Inside to Mullin, who hits it. Brilliant block. Paul Mullin. Wilson delivers into the box. Defender heads it clear. Wrexham are really coming on strong here. It's going to be kept in on the right by Mullin, who sweeps a great ball back in. Free header! And Wrexham score! Lovely ball in by Mullin. Is that Aaron James?
It's Aaron James, yes, Aaron James.
Wow. His first goal in senior football. What a fantastic cross by Mullin, though. And Aaron James heads it home, a free header. Like I said, his first professional goal, and he deserves it. He's put in a hell of a good shift. And Wrexham take the lead.
Oh, he'll be feeling good, Aaron James. It's a terrific goal. You know, not only the header, the ball in of Paul Mullin, who came very close to getting the goal himself, other than a terrific block by the Crewe defenders. But, you know, the ball was kept in play. Could easily have let it go out for a throw in, Paul Mullin. He wanted to keep the game alive, and then he whipped one into that near stick, and there was James.
Victory over Crewe Alexandra then on Tuesday night, with a much changed Wrexham team progressing into the last 16 of the Virtue Trophy. Just having a look again at that Aaron James header, what a quality cross that was from Paul Mullin, because everyone knows him for his goal scoring, but that was a ball that he could have let just run out of play. He kept it in, and it was on a plate really for James. Great header, but a superb crossing.
Yeah, and like you say, to keep it in, I think is a big part of it. I think a lot of the Crewe defence has switched off. They just before that that goal, the Wrexham had a massive chance, which was brilliantly blocked, and I think they were sort of celebrating as if they'd scored. And then, you know, Paul Mullin keeps it alive, and like you say, he just missed the chance earlier, keeps it alive, puts a wonderful cross in, and Aaron James, you know, buzzing for him to get his goal.
Yeah, great night for Aaron James, part of a clean sheet defence and his first goal for the club, and really good to catch up with Aaron post-match. Let's have a look then at today's fixtures around the patch in League One and see what else is happening. We will of course reflect on the results across the division post-match and have a look at where it leads the league table, and particular eyes of course on Wycombe Wanderers and Birmingham City's fixtures. Birmingham City at home to Bristol Rovers this afternoon. On paper you'd think looked a relatively comfortable victory, you'd think, for Birmingham, but then again Shrewsbury Town were able to upset Birmingham a few weeks back, so here's hoping Bristol Rovers might be able to do the same. Wycombe Wanderers, you can see down there, are visiting the Shrews this afternoon, just half an hour or so away from us. Here, Andy Morell, any other fixtures stand out for you?
Well, I think the Exeter Barnsley one, mid-table there, pushing for both to try and get into those playoff spots, and then same again with Huddersfield and Lincoln, the two main teams that are around us. Look fairly straightforward, you'd say, on paper, but like we said, we never know. You know, even this game for us, I think it could be anything. We could go out and put 5 past them, but we could go for a tight 1-0 because they might sit in and hold their space. So anything could happen here. So I'm looking still set for a decent game.
Yeah, those early fixtures have now gone to full time. So Wigan Athletic beating Bolton Wanderers in a Greater Manchester derby, 2-0, at the Tough Sheet, and Leyton Orient and Burton Albion all square a 0-0 draw at Brisbane Road. So we've had the chance this week to catch up with one of the stars of Wrexham's first half of the season, centre-back Max Cleworth. He's been catching up with our Head of Media and Communications, Colin Henrys.
Max, back at home today against Cambridge United after a club record run of home clean sheets. You've played your part in that. What's the mood like in the defence? Just how confident are you given the recent form there?
Yeah, I think obviously, don't think any of us have really paid too much attention to the run that's happened. It's just happened by every game making sure we're at it and doing our jobs collectively, but also individually. I think obviously that run shows that no matter who's played, no matter what keeper or what centre back pairings have played, I think everyone's played their part in getting that run. So yeah, we're looking to hopefully add to it tomorrow and but most importantly get the 3 points.
You've mentioned about no matter who plays, all the rotation of players. What's it like for you as a defender playing with the different goalkeepers, and how quickly can you adapt?
I think quite quick, to be fair. I think obviously Arf's injury was very unfortunate, who obviously I've played a lot of games with, got used to. And then Calu, I hadn't really played many games with, but he came in very quick and obviously put in some great performances. And then it was obviously really unfortunate for him. And then Chomp stepped up again, like he always has done. And obviously I've played a lot of games with Chomp, so it wasn't too unfamiliar. It was pretty seamless, to be fair.
And then in that back three, Lewis Brunt's coming in recent weeks, another new teammate for yourself. How have you found playing alongside him?
Yeah, I found it really good. Obviously, I think the fans and everyone's been able to see what qualities he has, and to be fair, he's put in some really good performances since he's come in. And obviously, I know he had to maybe wait his time a bit at the start of the season. It was probably hard coming into a new changing room and stuff, but as a lad, he's fitted in perfectly. And then obviously, he's shown his quality on the pitch.
The average age of the defence of yourself, Owen and Lewis, just 25. Add Tom O'Connor into that, it comes down. You've got Ryan Barnett, a young lad outside you as well. What does it mean being the young players now essentially becoming first team players together?
Yeah, I think obviously maybe that's something they look to do, bring the age down, but I don't think we particularly look at ourselves as, I know we're young, but like young and experienced lads. I know obviously Brunty's played a lot of games, played a full season obviously at Mansfield last year. I've also played a lot, and Barney's probably played the most out of any of us. So even though we're young in age, we've sort of got a fair bit of experience, and obviously there'll be tough games and tough moments, but we'll all sort of back each other. And obviously there's experienced heads around us, like Owen, who's obviously played a lot, Score, who's played at a top level. So yeah, I don't think the age is too much of a concern, and as long as we're playing well, that's all that really matters.
And 5 years previously to this game against Cambridge, we were away to Halifax in the FA Trophy. You might remember that day.
Yeah.
Probably not one of our finest moments.
No,
just in your words, how would you sum up just how much everything has changed since then?
Yeah, I didn't know that was 5 years ago. I actually remember the game very well. We lost 4-0, didn't we? Yeah, let's hope there's no repeat of that tomorrow. I think obviously the whole club's changed dramatically over the 5 years. Obviously for the better, since the owners have come in, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. Don't really like to look back too much, just hopefully do that at the end of my career. But yeah, I've just enjoyed the ride, the fans have done as well, all jumped on board, and hopefully we're only heading in one direction. So yeah, it's been mad. I didn't know it was 5 years. That's quite after, it's funny that, but yeah, it's been good.
And as a young player, I've noticed that somebody said the other day one of the signs of your own progression has been that originally opposition teams might target you, put the big man on you and try and take advantage of your youth, and nowadays you're being hailed as one of our best defenders. I mean, what does that mean to you personally, but how have you learned from the fact that in the National League you had all these big strikers up against you all the time, you just had to come through it every time?
Yeah, obviously I think teams attack in a different way. I don't think at times they won't particularly target, they'll just, it's sort of the way that suits their play, and they might aim for a full back and stuff, so it might just not fall on your side. But obviously, in the National League it was more, I sort of felt that as well. I felt, certain maybe goal kicks, but that's happened with all young lads. You're probably there to get tested, and you just have to try and come through it. I think I did that. Obviously there was tough moments, and will still be tough moments along the way, but it's about how you react and, you know, don't get too down. And obviously we've always had good quality people around us to sort of help in those moments as well, which, you know, certainly holds you in good stead.
Do you think it sped your development up having to deal with those situations on the pitch?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously the more you play, it certainly you just get used to it and sort of becomes second nature. But obviously as you go up the levels, they all have slightly better quality, so it then again becomes tougher. But, you know, that season obviously where I sort of broke in and played on mainly the left side of the defence, obviously it had a lot of challenges and we just missed out on, you know, getting to the player final. But obviously that season really was where, you know, I was sort of thrown in at the deep end and obviously learnt a lot about myself and what I'm like as a footballer.
And obviously the other thing that's changed since then is a much higher number in the goals scored tally.
Yeah.
You must feel real confidence when you go up for set pieces now.
Yeah, I do. I think obviously my role has probably slightly changed throughout the years. You know, obviously we had Aaron Hayden, who was, you know, like I've never seen the way he attacked the ball sort of, and I tried to learn off him. And I certainly think that's helped, but it's, you know, a lot of set pieces come down to delivery. And whether it be Tommy, Jimmy, El, you know, we've certainly got the quality that, you know, 9 times out of 10 it's on the money. So it's, you know, as much as you get the credit for scoring, a lot of it's down to them and the quality they put in the box for us.
Wrexham defender Max Cleworth catching up with Colin Henrys yesterday and looking ahead to this afternoon's match against Cambridge United, which is just over 3.5 minutes away. If you haven't yet sorted out your iFollow pass for this afternoon's coverage, head to wrexhamafc.co.uk/live and follow the links for iFollow. You can see the options available there. Mia and Andy will be on comms for that service in just a moment. And one of the points, Mia, that Max makes there is the amount of experience relative to the fairly young age that the likes of himself, Tom O'Connor, Ryan Barnett, Lewis Brunt have now got. Wrexham are reaping the benefits that they've got, the benefits of youth in terms of fitness and pace, but also experience levels perhaps ahead of where those players might expect to be relative to their ages.
Yeah, it's so valuable to have, not just on the pitch but off it as well, knowing you've got those young players as sort of assets for the club. And I think Max touched on it in Lewis Brunt, who had a full season at Mansfield last year. There was a reason why Nigel Clough really wanted to bring him back for this season, and what a option that was to bring him in this year. I think he's been exceptional so far, and, you know, like you say, the ages they're at. Obviously Max signing a contract fairly recently. Lewis Brunt, he's on here for another few years at least anyway. For the ages they're at and the talent they're already possessing, it's almost scary to know the potential they can almost hit. And I mean, you look at Tuesday night, Aaron James scoring. He's another one who I think maybe without Max being as successful as he is, maybe we be talking about him a bit more. So at the moment, it's really exciting to see the youth that are already, you know, shining and already hitting some of that potential already.
Max, yeah, he speaks so well, does Max, doesn't he? So mature, and I think that's the word for the back four at the moment. So young, but so mature football-wise, and in their heads, their mentality towards it. He's just very, very down to earth, knows what he's got to do, and I think a lot of the game is in between the ears, and he's certainly got that.
Andy, Mia, thank you very much indeed. As you can see, the players are coming out behind us for this afternoon's battle between Wrexham and Cambridge United. We're going to be back here on YouTube, same link at half-time for analysis of the first half, and then back at full-time for all the reaction. We hope to see you then and see if Wrexham can make it 10 home wins in the league at the Stoke Kairos this season. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Michael FC on the non-staff somewhat in minute, but however, the officials indicated early in the 1 minute at a time.
Cheers, Bob.
Welcome back to the Stoke Kairas half-time here. It's Wrexham 1, Cambridge United 1. A fiercely contested opening 45 minutes. And Phil Parkinson's side have got a battle on their hands this afternoon if they're going to put away the team struggling in third bottom position of the League One table. And it was the visitors from the east who got off to the better start in this game without any question. They had much the better of the first 20 minutes and took the lead on the 20-minute mark. Elias Kachunga sweeping the ball home around about the penalty spot region after excellent work down the left from Shane Lavery. Wrexham had struggled to impose themselves in the opening exchanges, but did have a really good shout for a penalty on the 8th minute when Ryan Barnett appeared to be tripped just inside the Cambridge penalty area. Phil Parkinson certainly expressing his enthusiasm for a penalty to fourth official Stuart Morland, but no interest from our referee Scott Oldham. But that goal did spark Wrexham into life, and they've been much more like their usual selves in the second half of this first half, and they drew level in the 27th minute. Once again, Ryan Barnett with the assist. How many times have we said that this season? A deep hanging cross, and up got captain James McLean at the far post to head powerfully into the corner. Since then, Elliot Lee has had a shot from distance, well saved by Chilean goalkeeper Vincent Reyes, and Matty James might have done better with a shot which he scuffed wide. So Wrexham fighting their way back in the first half. Mia and Andy have been on comms as well. Andy, how did you see the opening 45?
Yeah, I think Cambridge are good value for their draw, and you know they've had more shots than Wrexham, and they've probably had more territory than Wrexham have in that first half. I think they've been very, very good. They've played to their strengths. They've played into Ndululu up front, and he's held it up really well. And in Kachinga, they've got a real player that just drifts around into pockets and finds holes and causes a lot of problems, drags players out of position. So they've been good, and Wrexham have found it really, really difficult to get their front players into the game. But as we've got our goal back, which has been really important, and now we've started to see a little bit more of Barnett and especially McLean, and we haven't seen Dobson at all for me at all in this first half, and we just need to get those boys on the ball more.
Yeah, you talk about Elias Kachunga, Andy, and it's not often that you tend to see an away team deploy a player like him, because he's drifting between midfield and attack, he's picking up pockets, he's getting forward, he's got the goal, and it's actually quite a gamble, isn't it, for Gary Monk to come to a ground like this where a team are 9-1-0 at home and your team have won once away all season, and to play two men up top and then a third drifting forward a lot as well.
Yeah, but he's got a set pattern without the ball, so that he knows what his job is without the ball. He's tight in around Matty James at times, so stopping him getting the ball, and when it does go to Brunt, he's the one that's coming out and putting the press on. So he's got a definite job out of possession that he's very, very comfortable with, and then off the back of that, if it all goes past him, then he's able to then drift around and get on the ball, which then causes Brunt, if he goes in, there's a big space behind him that they're taking advantage of at the moment.
Mia, have you been heartened enough by Wrexham's response to going a goal down to be reasonably comfortable that Phil Parkinson's side can still negotiate their way through this game without having to make wholesale half-time changes?
Yeah, I think so. I think, to get a goal so soon after is only a good sign. And listen, I think we do look really threatening out wide, particularly on Ryan Barnett's side. I think, James McLean coming in for that cross shows his quality, but Ryan Barnett out there's had now, I think, 3 or 4 opportunities where he's put the ball in of really good quality, where you could argue maybe we could have gotten another few big chances from. But no, I think there's been signs. I think Cambridge, fair play to them, they have come out really well and they've put on a really good performance so far. But how long can they maintain that as well? I think, that's asking a lot for them. I think, we saw it in the sort of response to them scoring. They sort of immediately tried to sit back maybe a little bit too much, and that allowed Wrexham to come onto them, and that only plays into our hands. I think when we're given that time and that space on the ball, we have that quality to cause real issue.
I mean, at the start of the game, Cambridge was so positive, Mia. They seemed to be very much here to try and get on the front foot, get in the lead, and do more than try and just play a low block and kind of chisel out a draw. Having been pulled back to 1-1, do you think Gary Monk's philosophy will change a bit at half-time? Will he go and try and win the game again, or do you think this kind of more defensive shape that you touched on there will be what we'll see more of in the second half?
I don't think so. I think that they'll see they've had joy from the way they started the game, so why not continue that? The sort of things that will change, I think we saw it in that first half. They'll try and slow the game out, game down, when the ball goes out of play on goal kicks, on set pieces, just try and get that energy back, make sure they're in their shape. I think Wrexham might be on the opposite hand of that, whereas throw-ins, they want to get that ball back into play, back moving again, and keep that pace up, because they can probably maintain that. I think Wrexham, we're very lucky to say, probably one of the fittest teams in this league, and that's what we've seen it, for the past few weeks now. I think, the Barnsley game, that late goal, we still had that energy in those last few minutes, and that can really carry you across a season.
And history would suggest second half we are a lot more improved, and have been for this season. Really, our second half performances have been very, very good. So I think that the same messages will be reiterated in that changing rooms. Go out and let's go for it this second half.
And of course, Andy, Wrexham's record against Cambridge United is very strong, although they haven't played a league game here for over 20 years. The last two occasions when the two sides met in the Football League, 5-0 wins for Wrexham. I think you can probably remember those games.
Yes, that's right. I wondered when you were coming to this, because it's been, I think I'm the second most played for Wrexham against Cambridge. I think only Joey Jones, the great Joe Jones, has played more games against them. And I've had quite a good record. As a footballer, you have those teams that you tend to mentally you do well against, and Cambridge was mine. I just happened to score a few against them. I got my cut on my head from that, and the 2 5-0s on the last day of the season. One to get promoted, it was a brilliant day, and the other one was Lee Jones' day, wasn't it? He scored 5 and was absolutely brilliant that day. But really fond memories about playing these. So I was hoping for a space on the bench, to be fair.
Don't think we can quite get you registered in time, Andy, to be part of the EFL squad, but never mind. I was actually surprised this morning when I was looking at the game that the last time a team's met was now 10 years ago, because I was there that night at Cambridge in a match in what was then the Blue Square Premier, which became the National League, of course, and 0-0 draw. Astonishing, really, to look back, because there were so many matches between those two teams during that era in what effectively was the National League, until Cambridge got out, and then obviously we followed them a few years later.
Well, in that time, both teams were really challenging at the top end of that league, and we had some monumental battles against them. They were a very, very good, well organised team, and we were going for the same one spot as we had done for many years under Dean Saunders and then myself, and we just couldn't quite get over the line. And they were, one year they managed to do it. They were so solid in the way that they played and set up, and they had little goals. And Ryan Donaldson on the right was a real special player at that level, and he was the difference really in the league. And so we've had many a battle, and it's good to be back against these teams.
And of course, Mia, we talked pre-match about Paul Mullin's history with Cambridge, how he was such a talisman for them in that season, getting them promoted. Will he be, do you think, just of a mindset when he comes on, as we assume he will at some point in the second half, that this is just another team and I'm just wanting to score and we've got to get the job done? Or is that impossible to really shut out? Do you have that emotional connection as a player with a former club, particularly one you've excelled for, that might make you even more keen to do well?
I think there's always that connection, and I think, Andy touched on it before the game, a goal's a goal at the end of the day, and for a striker who hasn't maybe hit the heights he will have wanted to, I know obviously he's coming off the back of that surgery, so it's never going to have been easy for him so far this season, but he'll definitely be, Phil Parkinson put it perfectly, chomping at the bit so far this week in training, preparing for this game today. He'll be desperate to get on there and score, and who knows if hopefully if he does score, who knows if he'll celebrate, but it'll mean that extra bit to him with the connection there, and I'm sure he's ready to come on and do the business.
Patience, Andy, the watchword for Wrexham in the first part of this second half, do you think, or have they got to try and get on the front foot early?
Yeah, I would suggest we go for it and get out on that front foot, put them under a bit of pressure, push their players back into that defensive block that Mia spoke about, and really just keep moving the ball around, keep it away from them, because they're playing really direct into the strikers, and they're leaving it to the front three pretty much to go and cause our problems, and they've done really well so far. So if we keep the ball, we can keep those three quiet.
Confident, Mia, that we're going to be talking of a 10th home victory in the league in 45 minutes time?
I think so. I think, if we just continue what we've done to get that first goal, I think, it'll come. And you look at the quality coming off the bench as well, it's always a massive plus. I think Paul Mullin in recent weeks, when he's come off the bench, he's looked like the Paul Mullin of old, the Paul Mullin we're used to. He's really brought that energy on with him. I know he hasn't managed to quite get that goal in the last few weeks, but it's definitely coming. You can almost feel it. So I think, with the quality we've got there, with the quality we've already got on the pitch, we talked about fitness before, I think that'll play a huge part. So confident, definitely.
I think Fletcher's made a difference to Mullin a little bit. Him coming back fit, he comes on, there's a little relationship already built there, and so I think those two, we'll see them both at some point, and maybe that might be just the difference, that the freshness of that takes us over the line today.
Yeah, Phil Parkinson talking in interview this week that Stephen Fletcher was back to his best on the training ground and ready to make a big impact. So maybe the big Scotsman will come on and provide one of his famous Stoke Kairas cameos in the second half. We shall see. Don't forget, you can follow second half coverage via iFollow. Head to wrexhamafc.co.uk/live for that. But we'll be back here, same link at full time on YouTube, to discuss whether Wrexham have made it a 10th win at home in the league this season, or whether Gary Monk's Cambridge have proved party poopers in the run-up to Christmas. We'll see you back here then in around about 50 minutes time. Welcome back to the Stoke Kai Ras, where it's finished Wrexham 2, Cambridge United 2. So Wrexham's outstanding home record this season takes a little bit of a dent. Just the second occasion when Phil Parkinson's side haven't prevailed in League One action with a victory. Gary Monk's men working hard through the 90 minutes to find a way to find a draw. A penalty in the 87th minute converted by Dan Nalundalu bringing things back to parity after it appeared that a 65th minute Stephen Fletcher shot was going to bring Wrexham all 3 points. Well, this match was keenly contested from the off. Cambridge United out of the blocks quickest, taking the lead in the 20th minute through Elias Kachunga, a lead which the visitors well deserved after definitely having the better of the opening exchanges. Captain James McLean levelled for Wrexham in the 27th minute, and that was how it stayed till half-time. After the break, well, Cambridge struggled to create too many clear-cut chances to worry Mark Howard, but were always competitive in the game. It did seem, though, that a double substitution from Phil Parkinson in the 63rd minute was going to reap ultimate dividend for his side. Steve Fletcher taking just 2 minutes to make his mark, sweeping the ball home after Ollie Rathbone had robbed defender Kelland Watts, squaring it for the Scotsman to slide it into the net. Paul Mullin then hit the post, involuntarily deflecting the ball as it came from across, and that was to prove a crucial moment because that would have made things 3-1. Wrexham continued to just have that 1 goal advantage, and when late on Lewis Brunt fouled Salai Kaikai, then it was all over to Alundaloo to find a way of beating Mark Howard. He absolutely did that, and that levelled matters 2 each. Let's have a look at the tail of the tape, the statistics from this afternoon's game of how this one played out in North Wales. And we'll get a chance to get Mia Roberts and Andy Morell's thoughts on these in just a moment. Wrexham having the better of possession, but Cambridge having more shots through the game. Have a look at the first page again, we can see some of those key statistics to assess the passing accuracy in Wrexham's favour over the 90 minutes. But Mia, over the 90 minutes, would you say that Cambridge were worth the point?
I think so, yeah. I think in the end it's a fair result. I think it's a bit of a sickener the way it sort of unfolded those last few minutes. I think it's always going to be a difficult one to sort of swallow in the immediate reaction in terms of a penalty, which maybe on another day doesn't get given. But I don't know. In my opinion, I think it is a penalty from Lewis Brunt. As soon as you put your arms around, you're always taking that risk. But yeah, obviously you're sort of looking at it in those last few minutes, thinking, Stephen Fletcher obviously getting that goal 65th, just hold on, and if, like you say, if that Mullin one goes in, it's another story. It's 3 points on the board. You sort of sail to that win in the last few. So, difficult one. But yeah, I thought Cambridge put a really good outing out for themselves today. I thought they were very impressive, and second half didn't maybe cause us too many problems. I thought set pieces they were quite dangerous. But in the end, I think that's a fair point. And over the last few weeks, maybe we've had a couple of wins where you could argue on another day the luck goes the other way, and that could have been another story. So yeah, I think it's one of them. That's football for you, and I think the lads in there will be frustrated, but they've got to just get on with it and on to next week away from home.
Andy?
Yeah, I'd just echo Mia's thoughts really. I thought the game was fairly even. I thought Wrexham were better in the second half. I thought they were more on the front foot. We created a bit more. We didn't allow as many shots on our goal as we did in the first half. I thought Cambridge were a very good first half. But then you get ahead and you want to see out the game, and unfortunately we just weren't able to quite do that. But like Mia said, again, we fell on a few wins here over the past month or two where we've just sneaked a 1-0 really, and it could have been a draw. So there's another game. Cambridge fighting for their lives. Yes, they didn't have a great start to the season, but this past sort of 10 games they've certainly picked up and had some really good results against Barnsley and Bolton. So they're no mugs here, and they're fighting for their lives to try and stay in this division, and they proved that today, and they were worthy of their point, I felt.
The moment when Paul Mullin hit the post, Andy, you said he'd do anything for a goal at the moment regardless of the opposition. It just seems that the gods aren't in his favour at the moment, because I'm not sure how much he knew about it, but it did look for all money like it was going to go in, and then the agony of it coming back off the inside of the post, and if that had gone in, you think that would have been game one.
Yeah, absolutely, and we couldn't really tell if it was going to be an own goal or if it did come off Mullin, but he finds himself right between the posts. He doesn't see a great deal of it because of the keeper's dive, and it just sort of hits him or hits the defender, and it's just agonising, isn't it? Because it just hits the post, and it must be just one of those, you're just rolling your eyes and going, when is this going to happen for me? It will happen for him if he keeps getting in there, he keeps pushing in, and he puts performances in like he did. He keeps trying, he keeps running. It will come. What I used to do is I used to go and watch videos of myself scoring goals in the past, that just to remind yourself in your brain that oh, I can actually do it. It's not, oh no, not another one, not another disappointment. It was, just reminding that, yeah, remember that goal, remember the goals, remember that feeling, and then just taking that onto the pitch and trying to come out of that glut, if you like.
A bright spot though, Mia, Stephen Fletcher. Phil Parkinson been saying in his media interviews in this week that Fletcher was looking really sharp on the training ground. It took him 2 minutes, great work from Ollie Rathbone, but Fletcher's got to pretty much get that right first time, and showing his quality almost with his first touch with that finish.
No, it's great striker play, isn't it? And it's everything you could sort of epitomise about Stephen Fletcher. I think obviously it's great work by Ollie Rathbone in the most part, but that's sort of making sure he doesn't get in someone else's space. He finds his own space on the edge of the box, and the finish. That's not an easy finish, by the way. There's defenders in front of him, goalkeeper's set in a good position, and he just buries it in that bottom corner, makes it look really easy, and that's not easy at all. So no, I thought he came on and did a really good job, to be fair to him. And again, I think him and Mullin do link up well. It's just that Mullin, like Andy touches on, it's just not quite dropping for him at the moment, but it will come.
Huge benefit for Rathbone. I thought he was brilliant
again. Man of the match again.
Yeah,
wasn't
man
he?
of the match.
Yeah.
And just covers everybody in the grass. And we said in commentary about the way that he pressed. I feel that he's seen how Dobson's pressed what's before that and what's just chopped out of the situation, and Dobson only going past it. I think he's understood that, so he's gone herring in with an idea that I'm going to leave a little trailing left leg here if he chops it, and that's how he's stolen it off him. Really clever midfield play, and then to pick out Fletcher. Mullins does really well because he takes the defenders in and creates the space for Fletcher just to stand still, and a great little pass and a great pass into the corner. He didn't try to hit it too hard.
Let's have a look at what else has been happening around League One today, because of course there's been a full programme of fixtures, and the results you're going to see on the screen are all full time, so we can see what's been happening elsewhere around the League One scene. Bolton Wanderers losing at home to Wigan Athletic in that Greater Manchester derby in the lunchtime game. Leyton Orient and Burton Albion all square. That was also a lunchtime fixture. Birmingham beating Bristol Rovers by 2-0. Stalemate in South London between Charlton and Mansfield. Barnsley with a good win in the southwest against Exeter City. Huddersfield Town going well, fought back late to rescue a point against Lincoln City. Entertainment in Cambridgeshire with Peterborough beating Crawley by 4-3. Blackpool with a very good win at Reading. They're starting to move in the right direction again, Steve Bruce's side. Of course, next up for Wrexham here on Boxing Day. Rotherham beating Northampton by 3-0. Wickham right back on it with a 4-1 win just down the road at Shrewsbury. Stevenage prevailing over Stockport County. And of course, we know what happened here. Let's have a look then at what that means for the League One table. Wrexham will still retain that over 2 points a game threshold, which is always encouraging despite today's draw. 41 points from 20 games in third place now as Birmingham jump above Phil Parkinson's side to go second. They've also got 2 games in hand on the Red Dragons. Wickham still out in front after that victory today at Shrewsbury. They go up to 43 points. So Mia, a slight step back in the league table from a Wrexham perspective today, but still after 20 games I'm sure you'd have offered 41 points to Phil Parkinson at the start of the season. He'd have taken it every time.
Absolutely. I think it's just probably a small bump in the road. If you look at that form, you're still unbeaten. There's still a lot to take, still a lot of positives from today. So I know obviously Wickham and Birmingham getting wins today, but Huddersfield below us dropping points, Stockport dropping points, and Reading dropping points. So you can't take too much negative away from it. I think you have to be positive in these situations and just go on to the next game really.
Yeah, point gained.
Yeah.
You look at, our home form has been so brilliant that we've won, 9 out of 11 now. It's so good that you draw at home, and you've seen the fans of what it means to get a point here. You've got to take something out of that, a bit of positivity, and just say, it's another point gained, 41 points, with 5 points clear of fourth. And things are looking okay. Let's not get away from that.
Absolutely, but a flag, folks. Blackpool in 10th, 3 wins on the spin. And next up here, of course, Wrexham go to Bristol Rovers next, but then it is Blackpool on Boxing Day. So Bristol Rovers are the next opponents, and we'll see them in the lower half of the table. We'll have a quick look at the lower half of the table now, and we'll see if that's improved Cambridge's position as they try and fight their way away from the bottom. They're still third bottom, Gary Monk's side, 17 points from 19 games. And you can see Bristol Rovers there in 20th, 3 defeats on the spin for the Gas, and that is where Wrexham head next Saturday. We hope to get some reaction from the Wrexham camp from Phil Parkinson, hopefully, or one of his management team and one of the players. Co-owner Ryan Reynolds has been here today. Chance for him to see the team in the flesh, and unfortunately not quite the result that the co-owner would have hoped for, but I'm sure he's enjoyed his Michael Williamson to sign some autographs today. He's had Channing Tatum with him as well, so a great opportunity for these fans to have the chance to meet some Hollywood A-listers, and if not quite the right result for the co-chairman, I'm sure, as ever, he enjoyed meeting the Wrexham fans as he made his latest visit to North Wales. Well, at least it's been entertaining for Mr. Reynolds, Mia, even if it hasn't been 3 points.
Yeah, always. I think, that's something you can almost guarantee. I know in the last few games these 1-0s, maybe we've been getting a bit too used to them, but today again, a bit of last minute excitement. I know maybe not in terms of for the Wrexham fans in terms of excitement, but again, another good game to watch. I think at times it was a bit scrappy, but that didn't cause us too many problems at times. I think when you look at the goal we scored, it came from a bit of scrappy play. Ollie Rathbone just being on that and switched on, and yeah, I think obviously it's great to have Ryan here today to watch the game in the flesh, and I'm sure he will have enjoyed it, and hopefully back again soon for a win.
Yeah, it just creates a little buzz, doesn't it, around
Always,
the place,
yeah.
when the owners are in town, and it's great that he spends so much time going around the ground and seeing as many fans as he possibly can when they're over here. Doesn't have to, he could quite easily keep himself to himself and watch the game and go home, but he certainly puts himself out there, which is brilliant for this place.
Wrexham 2, Cambridge United 2 then at full time. If you're just joining us on YouTube on Match Day Live, Cambridge coming back at the end to rescue a point with a late penalty, having led early in proceedings before Wrexham fought back all square with James McLean's powerful header, and then took the lead with Stephen Fletcher's swept finish. But it wasn't to be in the end for Wrexham today, after Nalundalu's late penalty broke Wrexham hearts. I can see Phil Parkinson's on his way to join us now. He's going to pick up the microphone. Good evening, Phil. Thank you for joining us as ever on Matchday Live. What are your thoughts after that game?
You can see a very sloppy goal. When we looked in pretty comfortable, how the lads wriggled through on that right hand side, and we should never have got through, ends up back of the net, but we responded really well after that, got the goal, brilliant bit of play from Barney, and where we want Jimmy scores, and then obviously Fletcher's got us ahead, and I just set the lads in there. I think after we got the goal, it was almost we were entitled that we were just going and win it, and when I felt we stopped playing, and it's almost like, we're so good at home that it's just going to now roll into another 2-3-1, and I just felt we took our foot off the gas a little bit, and listen, was there any real chances for them? But it only takes one moment, and when the ball hit the inside of the post and didn't go in for us, there's always that thing that we could get punished, and ultimately we did.
Did you think Cambridge would be rightfully to say we were worth a point today, or did you think your team did enough to win it?
In terms of chances created, we didn't have loads of chances. They came very resolute, very physical as we thought they would be. I still probably thought we should have won the game, but we haven't, and you get what you deserve in football, and like I said, I just felt that period when we got the goal, it was almost like it's done, and we've seen games through, we've gone on to win games more comfortably than that, but there's a mentality of we've got to keep playing to the last whistle, and I don't know what the stat was, but after we scored, it'd be interesting to see how many passes we made in that next period, because I just felt we didn't get control of the game enough. But in saying that, it's not as if Mark's had pulling off save after save and they've had clear-cut chances. It is just one moment which has cost us, but we've been on a brilliant run, and we're still on a brilliant run. Today is always frustrating when you drop points from a leading position, but we'll move on.
I guess it's hard, Phil, in some senses, to keep a sense of perspective because the home form has been so outstanding. I'm sure if I'd said to you at the start of the season, after 11 home games, you'll be 1-9 drawn 2, you'd have probably taken it. But because of the run that you've had and the success here and the fact that defence has been so solid, to concede 2 today against a team third bottom will be something that I guess you're going to look at with disappointment.
No, definitely. Yeah, without doubt. Like I've just said, the first goal's slack from our point of view. It kind of was evolving on that side, and I thought, how's he got through? I haven't seen it back yet. And the lads run off and scored, and we've been so good defensively. And we, apart from that moment, and obviously losing the possession in the middle of the pitch just in front of us and resulting in a penalty. Apart from that, we did look untroubled really. Apart from their set plays, which we knew they were a threat on.
Looking positively, again, another great assist from Ryan Barnett and James McLean showing his power and his aerial ability to get you back on level terms today.
Yeah, it was a brilliant header from Jimmy. We had a couple of goals, I think it was recently, I can't remember what game
Northampton.
it was. Northampton game. And he's great at that. We want more of that from him because he's a very athletic, he's got great timing in the air, he's a good finisher, and we've got a great supply line from that side with Barney as well. And it was a good header to get us back in it. And the subs, obviously Fletcher's brilliant bit of closing down from Ollie Rathbone. Absolutely, I thought he was outstanding today. I really did. His heart and his running and his drive to try and make us win the game was typified in that bit of closing down, and it was a good finish. And like I said, we'd expect us to go and win, but we didn't. But we'll take it on the chin.
You've mentioned to me before, Phil, about Steve Fletcher having that bit of star quality, and I think coming straight off the bench and being given a great opportunity like that, the fact he didn't snatch at the shot, perfectly positioned finish, wasn't it? Again, just showing the quality he'd got, and what you'd said to us in midweek about how good he'd been looking in training.
Yeah, he's a very high quality player, which is not something which people don't know. He's played at a high level, and we're just trying to get him as fit as we possibly can without overtraining him in terms of with his knee. But he is in a better place now than he has been for a while.
Phil, thanks for coming to join us. Hard lines today at the end, and all the best for Bristol Rovers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson there, understandably frustrated that his team couldn't quite close out another home victory and make it 10 wins here at the Stoke Kairas this afternoon, with that late Cambridge penalty pegging back his side and having to make them content for a point. And I thought it was interesting there that he felt that his team had stopped playing after the second goal, and perhaps had been an element of overconfidence, perhaps that was going to be enough just to see it through on the grounds that other games had been won here in a similar fashion.
Yeah, I think managers see games slightly differently, especially straight after the game. All the thoughts are going through your mind about what's happened and how it's happened. Maybe a little bit that they 2-1 and you can see the game out. They have done that in the past, and maybe that's taken it off, but I wouldn't say they took their foot off the gas. They just weren't as good with the ball, I didn't think, once we'd got that goal, to just keep and just kill the game off. We were maybe a little bit negative, we maybe passed the ball back a little bit, but that's fine if you're going to keep the ball, but we just didn't, and a couple of key moments where we didn't keep it and they've punished us.
Mia, looking ahead now to Bristol Rovers, Phil had got into a pattern of selection, I think, that had become fairly consistent on this good run, and when you're winning game after game, it's, I suppose, unsurprising you don't make too many changes. Do you think he now might be more tempted to make alterations, or will he be thinking, well, we've still got a decent time lag between this game and Bristol Rovers, we'll stick with that formula, and then we might change it around a bit when the games really come quickly, starting on Boxing Day?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to guess, to be honest. I think we've seen he doesn't really like to change that formation. That's something that's stayed quite clear over the past few years. But personnel is something he's not afraid to change, and we won't do it obviously all the time. But when sometimes I think he's done it more in those away games, and I think that's at times has surprised fans going to the game, surprised a few people in the media and stuff. But more often than not, it has worked. So. I can see him maybe making a couple, not too many, nothing major, but it'll be interesting. Obviously they'll have a plan in terms of minutes in players' legs and all this. Obviously got a few coming back from injury, which is always good to hear around Christmas time when you need those extra players in that squad. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think obviously Bristol, another difficult place to go. We haven't been at home, been away now for a couple of weeks. Since Burton last week, which was a sort of different sort of game to sort of analyse. Not your usual away game with obviously the storm and whatsoever. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one. I wouldn't like to predict that starting 11, to be honest with you, after today's game.
With the busy period coming up, as a manager, you you sort of have a plan in your head of what you would like to do, but you can't plan any further than, well, Bristol, pretty much, because of what might happen in that. When you do have your plan, it gets chucked out the window because of an injury or whatever. So he'll be fully eyes on Bristol, and he'll be looking very much so to win that game off the back of this draw.
Thank you, Andy. Well, we've got Wrexham captain James McLean, who's coming out to brave the cold. Hello, James. Thanks for joining us on Match Day Live. What were your thoughts on that 90 minutes?
I thought we were about below par, if I'm being honest, over the 90 minutes. Didn't think we were quite hard ourselves, but obviously then getting the lead and obviously throwing away 2 points in the manner we did was obviously very disappointing. But look, I think we've won 5 and drew 1 the last 6, so it's not something to get too downhearted about. They would just pick ourselves up, go to Bristol next week, and hopefully get back on the winning track.
When you reflect and say that you didn't think the team were quite in top gear today, any reason why you think that might have been?
No, sometimes, look, that's just, you get them games, they were well organised, like they're fighting for their lives down there, and not just that, like you look at their team, it's experienced players, and sometimes when they come like that, and they're putting everything on the line, which also we do yourselves, but when, like I said, you've got good experienced players at League One level, which they do and above, and when they come and they're compact and they're fighting for their lives, sometimes you can get sucked into that kind of scrappy game, and I think we allowed ourselves to kind of get sucked into that kind of game today.
Cambridge certainly started brightly. They took the lead, but there was a real response from your side with the equaliser, with, of course, Ryan Barnett's hanging cross and your header, a little bit similar to your goals that you got against Northampton earlier this season, arriving at the far post and powering that in. How much are you enjoying playing with Ryan Barnett as your fellow wing-back?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I think it's, anyone with a good working pair of eyes will tell you that, this season he's been top class, and he doesn't. Sometimes all he has to do is get half a yard, and the quality of his deliveries is 9 times out of 10 spot on. And for me, it's like just working on time and run, and if I can do that, I've got a decent leap on me, and I've got a desire to attack the ball. So it's when that's the case, it seems to be a decent enough recipe.
Is that something you work on quite a lot in training, James? Actually arriving, timing your jump, getting the power right.
It's something I've kind of done all my career. Obviously, I started out. Played a lot of my career as a wide man, as a left winger, and it's drummed in me from an early age. Make sure you get on the back post when the other wide man's crossing. So it's just something that I've always kind of tried to do anyway. And today it obviously paid off, and obviously thankful they got on the score sheet.
You were in the reasonable position to have a look at the penalty at the end there. From your angle, what did you think?
Well, given the referee's explanation, he said that he spun him around. It was nothing to do with a tangle of legs. So if he's saying that he spun him around, then I think that's very, very soft. Because he would have been in a similar position from mine was, and it doesn't look like he spun him around as soon as he got goal side. It was almost like he was desperate to go down, and look, we can't dwell on it. Like I said, it was disappointing. We dropped 2 points in the manner we did, but like I said, we're on a good run, so we'll pick ourselves up and we'll go again.
Just a quick word on Stephen Fletcher. 2 mins off the bench. He's got an opportunity, but he makes absolutely no mistake with it. Just talk to him a little bit as a fellow professional who's been around for a few years, what he brings to the side and the quality that he brings on the training ground.
Look, I've been quite lucky. I've played with Fletch at 2 other clubs before that, so I know him quite well. I know the quality he's got, and when you've got someone like that they bring off the bench, and his experience, his quality over the years, like he's a proven Premier League player, and to be able to bring that on, it was obviously a massive bonus for us. And like I said, he hasn't lost that quality. He still got that. So it was nice to see Fletch, because he's obviously had a bit of a difficult time with injuries recently. So for Fletch to come on today and have him back fit and firing is obviously a massive bonus for ourselves.
Perfect. Well, James, thanks so much for coming to join us.
Problem.
Really appreciate it, and all the best for the trip to Bristol
Thanks
Rovers.
very much. See you
Thank
later.
you very much. James McLean, Wrexham captain, giving us his thoughts on today's draw against Cambridge United. Mia, that combination of Barnett and McLean, we've seen it a few times this season. Wrexham are going to need to get goals from all areas and continue to do so, and the fact that the two of them link up so well and McLean can bring that power in the air really is a great weapon for Wrexham to have.
Absolutely, I think weapon's probably the perfect sort of terminology to describe it. I mean, it speaks for itself that Cambridge had to change it at half time. Bring on, sort of change that shape, not the shape, sorry, change the personnel, and put the centre back out wide because Bennett, I think it was, marking McLean, just wasn't able to deal with him. He was just getting the better of him every time, and that's full credit to him. His desire, I think he puts it perfectly, to want that ball is second to none. And Ryan Barnett was putting them balls in. It was pretty much 9 out of 10 each time, and he's so good at that, and it is so hard to defend. I think from a Cambridge point of view, you sort of say watching it thinking we'll get closer, but he's just so good. When you do get close, he can get round you. He's got that pace, so it's super difficult. But yeah, them two at the moment are just in real good form, and that's helping Wrexham massively. Yeah,
what he does so well is he reads the flight of the cross really early, picks up the flight of it, sees where he is and where it's going to end up, and he just attacks it. And because he's got maybe 10-15 yards to make up from the edge of the box, he can just read it, and then he's off the run. He can jump over the fullback that's probably backpedaling and doesn't really know where he is to go and bury it, and his timing is brilliant on it.
Bristol Rovers away then next Saturday. Andy, positive memories for you as a player going down to the Memorial Ground?
Yeah, I've had it's going quite well in it at the minute.
I didn't even research that. It wasn't intended.
Yeah. Well, I scored 2 down there, I think, and with 3-2 win. Trundle gets all the glory because he did a fantastic little goal with a bit of a flick over his head and volleyed it off his left foot. But 2 nice goals down there and a good win. So fond memories, and looking forward to going back there and hopefully seeing Wrexham come out of the traps again away from home. Something different, personnel changes, I'm not so sure. I think Parky will stick to his guns. He doesn't really, like Mia said, make too many changes and panic really, and they'll look to go and take it to a team that again are at the bottom of the league and trying to get points, fighting for their lives.
One of those matches, Mia, which at the start of the season you wouldn't necessarily say, well, that's one that you'd look for in the fixture list, but to try and kick-start the season again, I mean, it's only a game here that hasn't been won, but the fact that it's a setback of a nature against a team that's been struggling, with the Christmas fixtures coming so quickly, it's an important game now to try and make sure there's a positive result from.
Yeah, it is. It's big, and I think it's 12:30 as well, so that changes a couple of things, just in terms of your sort of usual routine. But no, I think they'll use this today as a bit of a kick to sort of say, right, let's bounce back, even though it's not the biggest of I was going to say defeat. Then it's not even a defeat, but no, I think they'll use it in their favour. And normally that's something we've come to really associate with this team, a real strong reaction when sort of things maybe haven't gone their way in certain matches, and they've got that character to really bounce back. And I expect them to do that on Saturday.
It does feel like a defeat, doesn't it?
Around it,
I'm like, hang on a sec. I'm sure it's just a point. Yeah. And I'm like, no, hold on, we're still unbeaten here, and there's still another point towards where we're trying to go. We're still over 2 points a game, and let's relax. I think all the experienced boys in the changing rooms will be getting around going, come on, don't matter.
It's just
it's just a point. It's just a point. 2 points drop maybe, but a point gain still. Let's look forward, let's be positive, and let's keep on this run of not losing games, and it will take us to a decent place if we do. Let's not get too down about it.
Completely. And I think if you look at Exeter, Lincoln and Barnsley as 3 home games, you'd say, well, actually, if we got 2 wins and a draw out of that would be really good going.
Yep.
And probably have beaten Cambridge, where it's just the results have fallen in different matches.
That's right. But also, go and reflect on this game, and if Parkinson thinks we weren't too good after the goal, yes, let's make sure that we look at that and address that. But let's not just get too down about it. Let's still keep that momentum. Let's still keep our chests out, and we're still a very, very good team in this league. And let's go and win the next game. Simple as that.
Still right in there. Andy, thank you very much indeed. We will see you on Boxing Day against Blackpool. Looking forward to the big day, 25th?
Yeah. Again, fond memories of Blackpool. I had 2 brilliant years up there. We had a promotion as well, which was fantastic. So looking forward to seeing a few familiar faces in the crowd, I'm sure, and a few of the backroom staff I hope to catch up with. But it's been quite a few years since then. But yeah, what a club, and I just loved the place when I played up there. So many fond memories again.
That'll be a fascinating game on Boxing Day against a team improving under Steve Bruce, multi-title winner for Manchester United, of course, as a player and highly experienced manager in the EFL. Mia, what are your plans for Christmas Day? Anything fun?
Prepping for Blackpool.
Well, of course. There's no time for presents, turkey, or having a drink. Get your notes out. That's what we like to hear. Thank you, Mia, as ever, for your diligence on Match Day Live. Okay, so Cambridge United made the schlep across country to North Wales to see if they could puncture a bit of Wrexham's recent momentum. And in the end, they were successful in their task. But Wrexham picked up yet another point. It still continues an excellent unbeaten home record, which now sees 9 wins and 2 draws from the first 11 home matches of the campaign. We are back here on Matchday Live on Boxing Day. Blackpool the visitors, a 3 o'clock kickoff. So we wish you, of course, Nadolig Llawen, have a happy Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you on Boxing Day. Diolch am wylio from all of us here at the Stoke Kairas. A very good night.